What's up guys, it's Scroo from TwinstiqLP. This is Rebel Galaxy, currently free for the next few days at least on Epic Game Store. I've been playing a little bit of it and enjoying it so far. It seems really fun. It's kind of weird, there's no Z-axis to navigate. You can only move on a horizontal plane, which does feel a little weird at first, considering this is a 3D space game. But really, once you play it for a while, you don't really notice. It feels kind of naval. The combat takes place with the game explains it as broadsiding, and that's what it is. It's bear the side of your ship and fire these big things here. Your broadside weapons. Plus, it's got this great soundtrack. I chose to run from these guys, but just listen to this music for the next moment or two.
Boosters depleted. Accelerating to satellite.
Alright, so I know what you're thinking, but no, that's not Chris Cornell. There's actually a song called The Promised Land by the Blues News. The whole soundtrack is this good, guys. Super awesome. That was a completed mission. I just had to make a delivery. So this one here, this is a rescue mission that you go on to, and this is how I found out the hard way that missions are one shot. If you fail them, you fail them. That's all there is to it. I failed this one. I didn't rescue the trader in time.
I sure could use your help.
You're going to see combat here as well. This is some of the combat in the game. It's not the best example, but I'll show you some more towards the end of the video. You can see the yellow, kind of blue, like it looks like a diving board off the end of the ship. That's aiming the broadsides. That's the one you have control over. Excuse me, my goodness. That's the one you have control over. Or the one you really want control over. Your turrets, you can take control of your turrets if you want to, otherwise they aim themselves. But there's really no reason to do that unless you're mining or trying to destroy a minefield or something like that. Otherwise you want to keep control of your broadsides because they can auto-target, but it's better if you're leading targets and aiming them properly and so on and so forth. And ship's health bars, essentially, you can see them above them. There's like a blue bar. Once you knock their shields down, that blue bar goes down pretty quickly. You see, my ship is actually damaged at this moment. A lot of really cool effects in this. And you can see occasionally, right there, you see that flash of purple. That's your deflector shield. You control that manually. And you can see below the minimap on the left-hand side there, left-hand corner, that blue bar recharging right now is the deflector shields. And it will absorb all the damage that it's capable of before it's I can't talk at all. Before it's depleted. Generally what that means is it'll take a few shots. I think this one absorbs 450 damage. And missiles typically do something like 200 damage. Anyway, that was a fair amount of combat there. And after you're done, of course, you can mop up if anybody's dropped anything. I think this cargo actually came from the guy that I failed to protect. And when you're done, or when you want to look around, rather, this is the sector map here. The stellar map. The sector map is actually bigger. You can check out stations. They give you a status. They'll tell you what commodities they're looking for. This game is about... Ultimately, it's about finding your aunt, Juno, who, by the way, is the main character, or going to be the main character in Rebel Galaxy Outlaws. It's a game coming out. I'm looking pretty forward to it. It's like, looks pretty cool. Anyway, this one's a little more exploratory, not a whole lot. It seems to really focus mostly on doing these little side missions, and there's not really a whole lot of difference between the side missions and the story missions. They both play out, so far at least, the same way. You travel to an area that you have a risk of running into some enemies. Sometimes you run into more than others, and you do some combat, you clean up some stuff, go to a station, sell your equipment, upgrade your ships. You can buy new ships. I'll show you a little bit of that, I think, in a moment. I haven't actually bought a new ship yet, but anyway, I've chosen to go to Shimikin Station here, and I think in just a moment we're going to do that.
Accelerating to sublight.
Yeah, here we go. You can see the waypoint off in the distance there. And this is when we got to the station. Need repairs. You can also go to bays like this right here. You can refill ordnance, so check out your weapons, upgrade shields and hull plating and that kind of stuff. This shield, or this ship rather, is about as upgraded as it gets, I think, except for a deflector. Which I want to say I did pick one up here. In fact, maybe I do it now. Yeah, it looks like I do. Maybe I didn't. I don't remember. Yeah, I did. Okay. Anyway, you can also look at new ships price-wise. They all seem to be essentially the same at every station. So far, at least. There are faction reputations you can pick up, so maybe you'll get some discounts or whatever later on. Anyway, just trying to look at weapons and stuff. My mining laser is only Mark 1, but I don't really have enough money to upgrade that at the moment. And you can look at the mission board, which is here. They'll tell you difficulties, what they're expecting, your factions, reputation, who it will affect and whatnot. High-risk missions, I really can't do high-risk missions yet. I'm still fairly just getting started here. But this is an average risk. This is a story mission here. And this one I've built up to be able to handle. The first time I tried this, it was a total wash.
Initiating contact.
But this is pretty neat, man. It's cool. You've got a little... I don't know. It's not a really awesome story so far, but this like AI has asked me to help her recover lost components to her... she calls it memories. I'm assuming it's just like her data stores, whatever. Hard drive.
I believe their intention is hostile.
But anyway, this is going to be a great example of some combat. It's really fun, and the soundtrack again is super awesome. So I'm just going to let this mission play out. You've essentially heard everything this game has to offer so far. It is really cool. I recommend it, especially because it's free. Definitely check it out, guys. It's really cool. If you like a space game, if you like something's fairly simple, this is pretty simple, and it's cool. So, anyway, here we go.
This is the end of me.
Collision warning. Missiles inbound. Missiles inbound. Deflectors depleted.
Another time, cutter.
Satellite boosters depleted. Missiles inbound.
This can't be happening.
Missiles inbound. Deflectors depleted. Bounty received. Missiles inbound. Collision warning. Missiles inbound. Deflectors depleted.
Alright, so you get it, right? It's pretty cool. Lots of fun. Combat is really fun and challenging. It's really strategic. You really want to keep an eye on that mini-map because you can see all those bars flashing. That's your shields on the outside. On the inside, that's your hull plating. The solid white bar, I mean, is your hull plating. And when those go down, that means that your ship is damaged. You're really, like, you're vulnerable to critical hits at that stage, and you could die pretty easily. Weapons are pretty cool, man. They missiles that I'm firing right here, these are heat seekers. They also have dumbfire missiles. There are cluster missiles. There are magnetic missiles, so on and so forth. You've got different versions of, like, flat cannons, and there's plenty of options. It's going to be really cool to continue further. And if you don't like the soundtrack, you can add your own music. So that's also really neat. Anyway, this is just about done, guys, so thank you for watching. I'm going to cool before this causes any more spoilers. Have a great one.